what every Russian schoolboy knows.
Good time of day to all of you my chess friends here on the Internet Chess Club. This is Grandmaster Alex Yermolinsky. Well, upon some reflection I decided to return to my series on the Bishop f4 line in the Queen's Gambit declined. Originally I thought I will leave aside the main line that you're gonna see today, all the key games, of course, famous players. I thought you probably saw these games, but then, you know what I did? I actually tried to go over those games, Nakamura's, Anand's games, all that, you know, and even if I obviously studied this stuff before and I played it, I had some of the limited experience, yet I wasn't able to understand what was going on. So it took me some studying, some looking at some different games and comparing, and finally the picture became clearer. And then I thought I should share it with you. Alright, so we move on. And the game we're looking at is the famous game from the second Anand Carlsen World Championship match that went down history as Anand's only win yet against Carlsen in those matches. There we go. Castle c3, knight d7. Now the move knight d7, I didn't mention this move before. We talked briefly about some minor alternatives, knight c6 or whatever, and mainly we concentrated on c5, of course. But knight d7, what is the point? Well, the point is, we're not gonna cover this today, but I think maybe in next video. The point is that after black plays c5, he can take with the knight. We noticed in our games when we studied c5 and bishop takes that bishop would become subject to white's attack on the c-file or with the pawn on b4. So black figures more used to have the knight on c5 because it could go elsewhere, not necessarily back to d7, while the bishop probably would go to b6 or e7 and less active. So this is how knight d7 came about as an idea. Now white's reaction is to play c5. Now we have not talked about this. Alright, let's do it now. c5. Obviously white releases the tension in the center. There is no pressure against d5. There is no attack in the center. And even if white later on somehow engineers the move e3, e4, here, then it would leave him with the backward d4 pawn and the square d5 in front of it that should fall in black's hands. So, what are the good things about b4? Oh, obvious. Gaining space on the queen side for the pawn storm later. Now, black's regular counter in this pawn structure is to play e6, e5. Now, if you studied a similar line in the classical interpretation of Queen's Gambit declined, and it would be, okay, let me throw some moves in. This, knight d7, and the rook c1, say a6. Now white goes c5, c6, and then bishop d3. We see some difference here, an obvious difference is on the queen side. It's like, okay, white waited for black to play b6. a6, meaning if black plays b6, white could take, and then black is unable to recapture with the pawn, which would be great for him, right? Supporting c5 and opening the a-file for the rook. But there is one more difference. It's the position of the white bishop. And in this situation, black actually common choice is to play e5. Yeah, that's strike in the center. Obviously white has to take, and then black goes knight e8, and white cannot protect both pawns, e5 and c5. There is some theory here, and a lot of people think